What is going on, everybody? We've got another Decklist submission for Commander from Professor Amateur, and uh, wait a second. What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Roxora, and here we do all things Match the Gathering. Today we are doing another Commander deck where I take a look at a decklist submission, take a look at the Commander, the cards, the individual card choices, the overall strategy of the deck, and give it a grade out of 10 at the end. If you would like your deck list reviewed, you can do so in the comments, or you can also do so on my Discord link in the description, so check that out, and I'll be sure to give it a gander. Kind of on that same note, if you could, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out a lot. All right, let's get into the deck. All right, so here is the deck list. Pretty expensive, just saying that now. So we talked about Alela, and we've got essentially what's a artifact storm deck that has a ton of different combos in it, and it's just designed to just generate a ton of value using either Second Sunrise or Faith's Reward, which does essentially the same thing here. All right, so let's take a look at just, go down the list here. We've got some creatures here in Corridor Monitor, Emry, Esper Sentinel, Therium Sculptor, Aethersworn Canonist, Marionette Master, Mirror Retriever, Scrap Trawler, Spell Seeker, and a spicy one, the new one from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. There's a couple new cards here that I'll kind of go over in Reality Chip. Reality Chip being really strong in pretty much any value-based blue deck. You put this onto a creature and you can kind of have this kind of future sight type of effect. And it being an artifact that's tutorable, it's just really strong. So yeah. Otherwise, we've got some. I'm not sure what Corridor Monitor combos, but I'm sure it does. I'm trying to figure it out, but I haven't been seeing it. But in general, just a good card just to grab. Kind of you can play it for 1 mana if you have something like Therium Sculptor out, and essentially cost 1 mana if you have something like a Talisman or something like that, to essentially make it only cost 1 mana. And then if you have triggers with Alela or anything like that, it can kind of be a good value card. But I'm trying to think of what else it would combo with. I guess Emry. Oh yeah, I can kind of combo with Emry because you can cast it, sack it. Yeah. So that's kind of another thing. Emry is really strong in this deck with all of the 0, 1, and 2 mana artifacts in the deck, and then also being a combo piece later, which we'll talk about. And Ethereum Sculptor, and there's also a Helm of the Awakening, I believe. Yes. Making our spells cost 1 less. Very strong, especially when we want to do stuff with our Mirror Retriever and Scrap Trawler, which, if you know, is a pretty common combo with KCI or Kark Clan Ironworks. Sacrifice an artifact, add 2 mana to your mana pool. Mirror Retriever can get back an artifact. Scrap Trawler can get it back an artifact that costs, whatever less than whatever died. So if you have Scrap Trawler and Mirror Retriever on the battlefield, along with KCI, you can essentially loop these by sacking these at the same time by attempting to cast a spell. So you can attempt to cast something like a Cloud Key or something like an Arcane Signet or whatever, and overpay by using the ability of KCI to sack both of these at the same time. Then as the spell is being on the stack, both of these triggers will go on the stack. Mirror Retriever will get you back Scrap Trawler. Scrap Trawler will get you back Mirror Retriever. And if you have something like a Mox Opal or you have something like Ethereum Sculptor out, this will essentially net you 1 mana, giving you infinite mana, as well as infinite death triggers, and enter the battlefield triggers and cast triggers and all these things. So it gets you infinite Alelas, it gets you infinite Marionette Master triggers. So you can kind of see how this deck can combo off once it generates a ton of value, draws a lot of cards, and finds the pieces that it needs. We've got Spellseeker here as just kind of a general good card. Being a good thing to tutor for something like to equip onto like with Reality Chip, and just be a body, but also can be good to find things like Dramatic Reversal to combo with our Isochron Scepter, or to find something like a Negate or a Dramatic Reverse, Delay, Counterspell, Negate, any of those pieces, as well as something like Vampiric Tutor if you, or Enlightened Tutor if you really need to just get an artifact, or one of your, like, can Vampiric Tutor for a second Sunrise, which is kind of a slow way to get about it, but still nice. All right, so let's go over the spells here real quick. We've got Demonic Tutor, that should be Fabricate, those should be Reshape, those should be pretty explanatory here. Time Warp, I'm not 100% on where we're going with this. I guess the plan is you generate a ton of stuff with Alela, like you draw your deck, you cast a bunch of artifacts, and then you Time Warp on that same turn, and then attack with Alela with since you are on your next turn. So if that's the plan, that's kind of cool. And again, Time Warp is just kind of a good card anyways. Then in our instance here, we've got just some interaction and tutors, as I said. We've got Counterspell, Delay, Dramatic Reversal, Drown in Luck, which is really good here. And then we've got Fierce Guardianship, Mental Misstep, Negate for counter magic, and then a single Swords to Plowshares just as a standard removal spell. Kind of should just be in every white deck. Yeah, nothing too crazy about these instants and sorcerers here. Fairly standard stuff. I'm pretty sure that the Time Warp is just doing so that you can kill with all of the fairies that you get. That's my justification for it, and I'm pretty sure that's what Professor Amateurs is as well. All right, so we've got 40 artifacts here, and we've got 3 enchantments, which don't really do too much. We'll talk about those actually. We've got Counterbalance here to work with our where is it? Where'd you go? Sensei's Divining Top. There are some other cards that maybe could like put it on top. You have like Vampiric Tutor or Mystical Tutor or whatnot. But generally the way you're using this is you're just having Sensei's Top out and seeing if you can nab something. Otherwise, there are just a lot of 1 and 2 mana spells in this deck. So if someone is trying to use Counterspell against you, you can use Counterbalance. You can have Counterbalance out, and it's very likely that you'll hit something that is 1 or 2 mana and will negate your opponent's Counterspell. Then we got Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study as just the standard spells that you'd expect. Enchantments that you'd expect to see in this kind of value-based blue deck. All right, so now let's talk about the artifacts. We've got a ton here. So we've got a bunch of things that are just kind of cantrip. We've got Spell Bomb, we've got Chromatic Sphere and Star, we've got Baubles, we've got freaking all sorts of stuff. We've got Mind Stone, Bauble, Prophetic Prism, Scroll of Avacyn, which is that's pretty good to me. And Soul Guide Lantern, cantrips, all of these things. Witching Well can draw cards, Bauble, more Baubles. It's all those things. So we're casting these, and those are netting us value by drawing cards, and then when we cast Second Sunrise, they draw us even more cards. And then we've got things to add mana. Of course, we need lots of mana in this deck. So we've got things like the Signets, we've got again, Mind Stone, we've got Lotus Petal, and we've also got Mana Crypt. That's kind of where some of these pricier cards are coming from. Where is Jeweled Lotus? Jeweled Lotus is in here, right? There's a Jeweled Lotus I saw to help us cast our Alela faster. So help us cast our Alela, but it's also just you can sacrifice it, and recast it, with your Emery and things like that, or Alela, to trigger all of these different effects. So, yes, it turbos out Alela maybe a turn or 2 faster, but also it's there to just be like, here's another 0 mana artifact that you can sacrifice. Let's see, we've got more mana with Midnight Clock to draw cards as well. A new addition from Kamigawa in Moonsnare Prototype, really powerful, just essentially another version of Springleaf Drum, except it only adds colorless, and it has this channel ability, which is there. It's pretty expensive, but it is nice to still have that utility. But I don't perceive you using that too much. Again, the reason it's in the deck is because it's another copy of Springleaf Drum. Yeah. Got both of the Moxes, Mox Amber, Mox Opal, both of those really good. If you have Alela or if you have Emery out, just as additional mana. Skull Clamp being really good with Alela, can just ping off your fairies and draw 2 cards very easily. And then we've got Talismans, and yeah, those are our artifacts here. Basically just card draw, mana, and some of these more utility things like Sensei's Top. We also have Mystic Forge. Sorry, I gapped over Mystic Forge, and someone sees that and goes like, he's missing Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge here being really good is essentially just another future sight or another reality chip, because it, again, 40%, and that's not even counting some of the artifacts over here are these artifacts. So we can cast the top card, and even if it's not, we can exile it by paying 1 life to kind of refresh. We can also use our cantrip artifacts to sort of clear the top of our deck so that we can continue to cast cards. So this is definitely one of the key cards, in my opinion, that you're going to look for here to be able to play all of those artifacts in 1 turn. So yeah, really powerful effect. Really like that this is in the deck. Yeah. And then of course I talked about KCI, of course. So like that's kind of the plan, is you set up, with Alela, you set up with your artifact creatures. You start cantripping, jittering lots of cards, you play your Mystic Forge, and then you keep going by using all of your artifact spells. Yeah. And then let's take a look at the artifacts, or sorry, the lands here. There are a few artifact lands like Ancient Den and such. Ancient Tomb is good. Beseiju is a really spicy one to make it so that your second Sunrise or Fate's Reward is uncounterable. That's a really a plus inclusion there from Professor Amateur. That's really smart. Emergence Zone here is kind of interesting. You can kind of play all your stuff at instant speed. So that's kind of nice. You can like play Alela, pass, and then do all the stuff on your opponent's turn to play around any kind of Wrath effect if you don't have something like Time Warp. Yeah. What else we got? Mystic Sanctuary, that one should be pretty standard. Academy Ruins to rebuy artifacts. This can kind of be a cool one with either Sensei's Top or Mystic Forge. You can put it back on top, and then Mystic Forge can recast it, or Counterbalance can, counter it, or Sensei's Top can activate and immediately draw you it. So all these things are pretty cool. We've got Urza Saga here. That's another one that's gonna set you back a little bit in your wallet. Apologies, but definitely needs to be here. The making the constructs and everything is great, but getting to fetch something out of here is really, really nice. And we're talking about Treasure Vault. I guess I missed some of the combos, or extra win cons here. We've got Altar of Dementia, Altar of the Brood, which can help you win just by sacking or triggering Altar with Alela. So this is gonna deck out your opponents, right? And this is gonna do the same, just in a different way. This can also mill you, if you really need to get access to something for Emery or something like that, or Second Sunrise is a return to play all artifacts that were put into his or from play. So they don't get you back just because they were put into the yard. So that's not as cool, but yeah, if you need something for Emery, I guess. But mostly this is going to be, I think, for killing off your opponents once you've gotten all of your fairies. And again, they have an additional +1/+0 from Alela, so this is actually going to be 2 every time, whereas Altar is only going to be 1 permanent. But again, you can make a lot of permanents with this deck. So yeah, I think that's all I got for this list. It's fairly standard. Kind of ran through it pretty quickly here. Yeah, I don't know. We've got all of the talismans here, which is really nice. I get to play in the Esper colors, 3-color deck as opposed to something like a 2 or a 1-color deck. Which again we kind of need because we need, there's all the different blue cards that we need. We need the white for Second Sunrise, and then black gives us access to all these tutor effects in Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. I guess we don't 100% need Marionette Master in the tutors, but it is nice. So you could build this as blue white if you wanted to, but yeah, I think adding the black for Demonic Tutor and stuff is pretty nice. But and again, Alela I think works really well. On face value, you might think, oh, it's this can be anything. You just need to assemble your combos, but getting additional 1/1s with this, for something like Skull Clamp, you do that once, and you're drawing 2 cards, and you're feeling really good. Yeah. So that's the list again. That's the game plan again. Get out your Alela and storm off and assemble your combos. Again, you have the Isochron combo. You've got the Mirror Retriever KCI combo, and then you've also just got Storm. Storm. Your combo is Storm. So yeah. So first of all, what kind of play group should you be playing this in? Well, it's a Storm deck. You really should not be playing this in a casual game. This is essentially a deck that does a lot of nothing for a little bit besides maybe counter some spells, and then it's going off and it's taking like a 15-20 minute turn. So if your play group doesn't really like that, then I would steer away from this deck. But if you are playing in a more higher power level group, or just a group that likes is okay with a deck like this will be a lot of fun. You just get to spew a bunch of cards, draw a bunch of stuff, and it definitely is going to take some practice, I would say. Getting to know when to activate your or play your Second Sunrises and your face rewards is definitely going to be a hard moment to realize when you should do so. So definitely recommend, if you do build something like this, to just goldfish a little bit, and take your time, and be okay with getting familiar with the lines of the deck. But that aside, what would I give this out of 10? I'm gonna give this a 9. I don't think so. It's like kind of like, if this is not a 10, what is? Because I think this is like I wouldn't say call this very unique, but I think it's cool that you can take this kind of modern archetype, or it was a more archetype in modern at one point and got Second Sunrise banned appropriately. So I think that's really cool that you're at least able to take something that existed in constructed an artifact storm deck or a Second Sunrise deck and kind of port it over into Commander with some effort. And I also really like that this deck uses some of the new cards like Reality Chip. I like seeing that. I think this deck really showcases the power of Reality Chip, because it goes off. So that's pretty cool. I think it kind of is missing. I don't know if it's missing speed, because it can be pretty fast, but I think if it doesn't hit what it needs and it isn't doing its thing, it's not doing a lot, and it's probably going to die to maybe some more aggressive decks, or decks that would beat down, because this deck doesn't have a lot in terms of defense. There's no Cyclonic Rift here. You just have a couple counter spells. There's not even a board wipe or anything like that. It's kind of go off or you die. So that's a real weakness to the deck. But that being said, it makes up for it in its just explosiveness and ability to win just out of nowhere. One of the things that I would say is, like, I noticed that besides maybe Emery, there's not really a way for you to win once you've assembled the Isochron and Dramatic Reversal combo. There's no mana sink like Walking Ballista or anything like that to go infinite, unless you have something like I guess maybe No, not even Sensei's Top does it, right? Because you can't just like draw your deck with it. There's nothing to draw your deck with just Isochron, Scepter, Dramatic Reversal plus some artifacts in order to just like win the game. So that's the one thing of just like any kind of mana sink would be kind of nice here to just you just give you another outlet to just win the game out of nowhere. That would be kind of my recommendation for what I would do to improve it, make it a 10 out of 10. But definitely a 9 out of 10 for me. Super spicy, super powerful, and yeah. What else can I say? It's a cool list. Again, thanks to Professor Amateur for submitting. Um, you know, have fun with your friends with this, and just watch them in turmoil as they have six, and just go off and storm. All right, so that's gonna do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the list, and let me know what you guys want to see more of in terms of commander deck lists. Do you want to see more decks like this, or do you want to see more budget decks? Do you want to see more odd commanders? We've done a few commanders that are just kind of never before seen. So always looking for any kind of recommendations like that. And again, remember, if you have a deck list that you're looking to get reviewed, feel free to submit it on the Discord or in the comments, and I'll take a look at it. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Again, remember, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you guys for the next video.